You think overthinking makes you smarter. That constant analysis, that mental rehearsal of every possible outcome, it feels like intelligence, like you're being careful, responsible, deep. You're not. You're training your brain to be afraid of itself. And I'll show you exactly how in the next 20 seconds. Overthinking doesn't make you smarter. It rewires your brain to distrust your own judgment, turning decisions into threats and action into anxiety. Analysis paralysis. You gather more information, more perspectives, more data. Surely the right answer is just one more article away. For example, you need running shoes. You open 19 tabs, compare reviews, check YouTube, ask Reddit. 3 weeks later, still haven't bought them. What happens in your brain? Each time you delay a decision, your brain tags it as dangerous. Decision-making becomes painful, so you avoid it more. Solution? Give yourself a deadline. 30 minutes for small decisions, 3 days maximum for big ones. Then commit. But there's something worse happening beneath the surface. Mental rehearsal. You think you're preparing. Really, you're just practicing failure in your head. For example, you have a date Friday. By Thursday, you've already imagined 47 awkward silences, replayed every way you might mess up, and mentally experienced rejection before you even leave the house. What happens in your brain? Psychologists call this anticipatory anxiety. Your nervous system can't tell the difference between imagination and reality. You're pre-traumatizing yourself. Solution? One mental rehearsal. That's it. After that, you're just feeding the anxiety loop. And it gets worse. Intelligence theater. Overthinking feels productive. It feels like depth, like you're really thinking things through. You're not thinking. You're stalling. For example, that side project you've been strategizing for 6 months? Zero progress. But hey, you've got 17 pages of notes and a really thorough pros and cons list. What happens in your brain? Studies show chronic overthinkers don't score higher on intelligence tests. They score higher on anxiety. The correlation goes the wrong direction. Solution? Ask yourself, am I solving a problem or avoiding one? Here's where it gets twisted. Catastrophizing. You imagine the worst case scenarios because it feels like control. If you expect the worst, you can't be surprised, right? Wrong. For example, before asking for a raise, you've already written the script where your boss says no, where they're disappointed, where you look desperate. You've lived through the rejection before it happens. What happens in your brain? Your amygdala, your brain's fear center, lights up the same way for imagined threats as real ones. You're flooding your system with stress hormones over fiction. Solution? Every time you catch yourself catastrophizing, force yourself to imagine the best-case scenario too. Balance the scales. But there's something even more insidious. The replay loop. That conversation from last Tuesday, you're still editing it in your head, still rewriting what you should have said. For example, you stuttered during that presentation. Now you've replayed it 30 times, each replay sharpening the embarrassment, making it worse. What happens in your brain? Repetition strengthens neural pathways. Each time you replay that moment, you're literally building a highway in your brain straight to shame. Solution? One review, one lesson learned. Then you move on. Force the pattern to stop. And this next one destroys confidence faster than anything. Decision outsourcing. You don't trust yourself, so you ask everyone else. What do you think? What would you do? For example, you're considering a job offer. You poll your parents, 3 friends, your therapist, and 2 coworkers. You get 7 different answers. Now you're more confused than when you started. What happens in your brain? Every time you outsource a decision, you send your brain a message. I can't be trusted. Self-trust doesn't die all at once. It erodes. Solution? Make one small decision today, completely alone. Build the muscle back. Here's where most people get stuck. Waiting for perfect. You won't start until conditions are perfect, until you're ready, until the plan is flawless. Spoiler, you'll never be ready. For example, that project has been sitting in your Notes app for 8 months. You're still thinking through the details. You need to plan it out more. Meanwhile, someone else just launched the messy version. What happens in your brain? Perfectionism isn't about standards, it's fear wearing a disguise. Your brain has learned that starting means risking judgment, so it keeps you in permanent preparation mode. Solution? Launch the 70% version today. Done beats perfect every single time. And there's one final trap. The certainty myth. You think if you just analyze long enough, you'll reach certainty. You'll know the right answer. You won't. Certainty doesn't exist. For example, should I text them? You spend 45 minutes crafting the perfect message. Delete it, rewrite it, adjust the tone, add an emoji, remove the emoji. Don't send it. The moment's gone. What happens in your brain? You're chasing a feeling that doesn't exist in real life. Meanwhile, opportunities close. Time passes. Life moves on without you. Solution? 70% confidence is your new threshold. If you're 70% sure, you act. Because here's the truth nobody tells you. Comfort in overthinking. Overthinking feels safe. As long as you're thinking, you're not failing. You're not being rejected. You're not being judged. But you're also not living. For example, you've thought about starting that podcast for 2 years. You've researched microphones, studied successful shows, outlined 20 episodes. You haven't recorded 1 second of audio. What happens in your brain? Thinking creates the illusion of progress without the risk of failure. Your brain loves this deal. No risk, some reward. The feeling of productivity. But it's a trap. Solution? Do the scary thing badly. Action rewires the brain faster than any amount of thinking. And this final pattern is the most dangerous. Self-trust erosion. Every time you overthink, you're telling yourself, I'm not capable of handling uncertainty. That's the real damage. For example, simple decisions become monumental. What to order at dinner becomes a 10-minute internal debate. Which route to take becomes an anxiety spiral. You've trained yourself to doubt everything. What happens in your brain? Confidence isn't built through thinking, it's built through action. Every avoided decision is a missed opportunity to prove to yourself that you can handle the unknown. Solution? Take one confident action today. Act like someone who trusts themselves, even if you don't feel it yet. Because here's what connects all of this. Overthinking isn't intelligence. It's not preparation. It's not care. It's your brain protecting you from the one thing that actually builds confidence, taking action despite uncertainty. Every decision you make without certainty, you're proving to yourself you can handle it. That's where real confidence lives, not in your thoughts, in your actions. If you made it this far, you know this is about you. So here's what you're going to do. Pick one thing you've been overthinking, one decision you've been avoiding, one action you've been rehearsing in your head. Do it today. Imperfectly, scared, with 70% confidence. Your brain will rewire itself. Your confidence will return, but only if you move. And if this made you uncomfortable, good. Subscribe. I make videos that call you out every week. Now stop thinking about it and go do the thing.